Hello, everybody. I'm going to be going through a series of techniques and cool things that I did for a series that I just got done doing called Operation Doorstep. There were some cool things that I both found out and did, and I would like to share it with y'all. Let's get started. Starting off here, not only was the cool thing that I did in this city is making the players actually fight in it for 3 consecutive weeks, but also for the first operation, this all will be covering Doorstep 1. The cool thing that I did for this particular operation is that I segmented the city crudely and made each area its own capturable zone. And then what I did from there is I actually let it dictate where I could spawn in fresh enemies that, for them to fight active resistance. Otherwise, I would have to spawn them on the outside of the marked areas. It's very simple to set up. It uses a very easy to use module called sector control. The way you set it up is you put down your sector control like so, and then you define what factions are going to be used in the sector control. Technically, this module is to be used in the sector control game mode. I kind of repurposed it for this operation. So, as I said, you have to tell it what factions are going to be used. So you find the Op4 and the Blue 4 faction under, let's see if I can't find it, game logic, and then you find sides. You can also just put it into the search bar and you can find it that way, and you sync them to the sector control. Then what you do is you get these other modules, easy to find, just look, to put it into the search bar, called sector. These work by themselves. From here, they are fully operational. If you see the circle that's surrounding this sector, that's technically the area of influence for this, and you can adjust it to be bigger or smaller. For the operation, I needed them to be squares or rectangle. So I did a little bit extra to get them that way. The way that you get them to be customizable in size and shape is you get another game logic called area, search it, and then from there you link it to a trigger. Nothing else has to be done with the trigger. This is just a normal standard naked trigger that I just have my own setup, rectangle in shape, and you sync it to the area, and the area is synced to the sector. You cannot sync multiple areas and triggers to multiple sectors. Each sector is its own individual sector. From there, you can change things like the name of the sector, how it's going to be showing up in game, what the name of it. So this is, I called it outskirts. So this furthest one out here, it's the outskirts of the city. I named it outskirts. From there, you can give it a letter designation. If you just want it to be left empty, no designation, then just leave it empty. But since it's outskirts, I put an O for outskirts, and that's how it shows up to the players. I didn't set it up to where everyone sees it, but within the objective list, it will show up as O. C's reward, you don't need this unless you want it. Then see what it says and act upon it. There are no expressions, so you don't have to worry about any executables or anything like that. Ownership limit, leave that at 1. It means that the side capturing needs full control over the sector for it to be fully captured. Default owner, so in the case of the mission, so the Op4 wouldn't have to start so far away. I actually had the outskirts sector default ownered to op4, which means that the default owner was op4. Task owner, this is the one thing that I would change. I found out in the operation that actually these sectors, especially with AI and all that kind of stuff, would change control very often, very periodically. And that would tell everybody whenever that happens. So it was just constant back and forth, especially with how many sectors there are. The notification was going back and forth. So I'm pretty certain that the way that I would fix that is just having it be no one. It means that the ownership is still there. It just means that people don't get notified whenever a sector changes side. Task title, I didn't put one. You don't need one. The description, you don't need one in this case. And then what I did for here is this is the cost. So this is how many points or capture points per se is needed to start capturing the point. It effectively, how much influence does a unit have within the point? So in this case, each AI infantry costs 1, wheeled vehicles are 2, tracked vehicles are 4. So a tracked vehicle is effectively worth 4 infantry. That's kind of how the math works. And then aircraft are 2. So if there's like a helicopter inside of the capture zone, you get 2. I balanced that because the players are always going to be outnumbered in some way. I balanced that by making each player this cost the same as a tracked vehicle, so 4. And then from there, you can set it up however you want. You can make your capture zones look however you want. And there you have it. I'm going to pop into game real quick to show you what this looks like and how it should look visually working. Okay, so we're in game. Before we were in Eden. This is in game in Zeus. Open up the map. This is what it looks like on the map. So you can see here that we now have these markers for each individual control point, which in itself is its own objective. This one was called airstrip, barracks, etc. You can see that outskirts is here, pre-captured by Op4, and within the context of the mission meant that the enemy were coming from there. In the top right, you can see that all of your objectives are laid out. What it looks like to be captured, we'll take some infantry here, and let's just say the enemy did a flanking attack. We'll put some guys in here. So keep in mind, each one of these guys count as 1. And you can see here at the top right, you can see that this bar is getting low and the square is turned gray. And then you can see there, it was just captured and you get that notification. As I said, when it comes to the task owner, I would recommend that you turn that to no one, as those notifications like that pop up in your face constantly throughout the mission. And this is pretty much the gist of it. I found it to be a cool mechanic. If you want to use it, feel free to use it. It's not mine in any way. I'm just showing you how I did it. All right, next up is a little bit of script that I found using the Bohemia forms. It helped out a ton, and it's probably going to be the new way that I do kind of in-person intelligence from now on. It kind of helps with playing with rather than getting a whole sheet paper explaining what the situation is. It's very direct and upfront. What I found out is that there is a script called global chat, in which it puts whatever you write down in global chat, and you can set this up to be client side, so then only the person interacting with the object sees the message. It doesn't ruin anything by one person finding it and everyone finds out. And it can be interacted with multiple times, because as I said, it can't be spammed. No one can grief with it. And so if someone's being weird, they're just having the message pop up multiple times. The things that you'll need is this bit of script, add action, very easy to set up. Recommend looking at the Bohemia forums. It will show you how to do it. You will need an object, which in this case, I am using this rugged multi-screen computer for the object. And you will need a unit, because the way that this script works is it uses a actual AI unit to project this message. In this case, I have this dude over here way in the corner, completely turned into an agent. He is a potato. And I've set pretty much everything I can to firewall, and his unit name, identity, everything about him. I've changed his unit name, I've changed his variable name, all that. There's no way that anything could be confused, so you can replicate. In terms of the call sign, firewall. Variable name, firewall. If you see that there's no variable name up here, the actual unit itself has firewall. This is the squad composition menu here. So call signs, firewall, everything I could possibly do is make a firewall, and it worked really well. Going back to the object, from there, you want to put your message. I did a very simple explanation of what he sees. So rather than having to interact with something, and change stuff, making him have to look at a piece of paper, it just shows up in chat, very simple, just to him. And anyone else that walks up and wants to interact with it will also see it just for them, the message. Let me show you what that looks like in game. Okay, so we're here in Operation Doorstep 2. There wasn't a lot that I actually did for this mission, but I think it would be beneficial for you to see how to achieve a teleportation. Now, if you are in the unit that I'm making this video for, which is the 105th Shock Trooper Battalion, I can easily say you can get this, because this is what I did. You can easily rip the teleportation from the ship composition that we have. You can take those and replace the variable names. You'll see here how if you were to actually look at this with our ship composition and the spawner, that all I changed was where to go to and the overall location. So in this case, this is going to sewer in, and where sewer end is all the way over here inside of this spawn composition that I have. Not spawn composition. We call them progressives, but more of a artificial interior. And here I have a Frantican that is having its model hidden. Make sure to do that. And this has the variable name sewer end. So when the players interact and they go through the teleporter, just like on the ship, it will be taking them to here, which is sewer end. And I've repeated the process over here, in which they interact with this sewer out, technically, in which it takes them to secret end. My naming convention sucks, but secret in, which puts them in the secret sewer out, in which they go to here. This makes sense to me. By any means, do not copy the way that I name things. Name them to what makes sense to you. And reference that the only places the thing that they interact with, in this case it's this canal sewer prop, does not have anything going to it, because if they were to spawn on top of this canal sewer, it would put them either inside of the prop itself, unless if you gave the teleportation script an offset as to where to put them, or it would be weird. So what I recommend is always to use an offset prop itself. Don't offset the script, offset the prop that they're spawning to. So in this case, I use Franticans and hide the model. You can also, if you don't want to hide a model, you can use the grass cutter props, which is just a invisible prop that just removes grass in an immediate area. And that is where you want to have your teleport to location or teleport out location to be. So say that they went back through the sewer, which they can. I have an out location here, which is secret out. And to give you one last look at the script, there it is. All right, everybody, that's going to be it from me. There was one more operation in the series. There were 3 total, but I thought it would probably be the best idea to cover everything I did in that op in separate videos, being the proper setup of AA and also the addition of adding your own audio files that can play in the mission. So that's going to be it for this one. I hope you found it educational, and I hope it helps. So thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.